nikipoteza njia kwa safari nimechagua, nisipokuwa na nguvu niite, niongoze kwa neema, nifunze kwa upole wako, hata nikikosea nisaidie, nisaidie. Natamani kutembea nawe, natamani kutembea nawe, natamani kutembea nawe, niongoze, niongoze. Nielewi njia hii, ndo maana nakuhitaji, nakutegemea wewe, enda nami, enda nami. Nashindwa kukupa yote, hata hivyo nitaamini, kwani najua mwishowe kuna raha.
Yes, those are the sounds, beautiful music, by the way, of our worship leader and artist Rebekah Dawn. I'm sure it's a song you might have heard before, but today we get to meet the lovely Rebekah Dawn. Welcome to Power Breakfast.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
It's an honor to be here.
So that song, I was introduced to it by a friend of mine, and I think that weekend I listened to it on repeat maybe like 20 times. It's just a very, very beautiful song. Did you write that?
I did, yes.
Wow.
I did write it.
Incredible.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your background a bit, because a lot of people don't know too much about you. We know your music, and it's great, but so, you know, are you Kenyan? Are you American? I think that's
the big question.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I am American by citizenship. I'm Kenyan by heart and now by marriage. I grew up in Kenya. My parents have lived here for a long time, over 40 years. My grandparents actually came out here quite a long time ago. My folks met here, fell in love here, got married, have raised our whole family here. So I would say I'm more Kenyan than American. I only lived about a year in the States.
Wow.
The rest has been here.
So at what age did you learn Swahili?
Well, when I was in school, I took Swahili as a language. So I would say that's when I learned. It was my mother's incredible wisdom to have me learn. But it was also awesome because I was so tired of missing out on the jokes, because all my friends would crack these jokes and I'd have no idea what was being said, so you just kind of have the polite laughter of, you know, because you have no idea what anyone's saying.
Right.
So, yeah, that was a long time ago, but that was proper Swahili that I learned. Most of that has been forgotten over the years. Yeah.
Well, you still know enough to write music, so.
Yes, although I have a friend called George, and he does help me with translation, making sure I say it right. I'm known for making horrid mistakes in Swahili, so he checks and makes sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration behind the song? Because it's been able to touch so many people in different ways, and you know, it's just a very moving song. What were you thinking when you were coming up with the concept?
Well, I wrote the song a few years ago, actually, on my birthday, and it was really just a prayer. You know, some songs come very quickly. Some you kind of have to work on and put to the side and come back. Kutembea Nawe came very quickly. It was just a prayer. At the time, I had just started dating my now husband. And I just, on that particular day, it was my birthday, and I was in the studio, and I just sat down and I just started praying this prayer of, God, I want to walk with you. I want to, I'm not familiar with this path, but I want to walk with you. So it was really a prayer to God, inspired by my relationship with my then boyfriend. Just, telling God that I want to do this your way. And so help me, lead me, guide me, call me if I mess up. It was just, all I can really call it is it's just a prayer. It's a prayer I was praying over my relationship, but in many areas of my life, it's just a prayer of, God, let me walk with you, and I need you.
Yeah.
Lead me.
How do you feel about the reception the song has had by Kenyans and by, just generally on
It
YouTube?
Is shocking. I think especially because the day I wrote the song, I wrote it, recorded it, and posted it on my SoundCloud in one day.
Wow.
Like, I just kind of put it out there. And then I didn't forget about it, but I kind of forgot about it. And then last year sometime, we started getting phone calls of, oh, I saw your song on TV, I've heard it, like on the wedding show, or I heard it on radio. And my husband and I were both so surprised because we've never pushed the song, never given it to a DJ, never sent it to a radio station. Mm-hmm. So at first we were kind of like, how did they even get the song? Like, that was interesting. But it was just so surprising. So there was one day, I can't remember why we were Googling it, and then we saw there was a lyric video someone's done. I mean, we had no idea.
Just took a life of its own.
Yes, it did. So when we decided to do the video, we just shot it in the garage. One night, zero budget, we just kind of put together, our little instruments and stuff like that we had, and I mean, it's just overwhelmed me, to be honest. I wasn't ready for it.
Well, apparently everyone else was.
Yeah.
Ready for it.
But it's also fun. It's fun to see the stories that have come out of it, and what it's meant to different people. So that's just a huge blessing and a great honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're also a producer?
Yes.
So you produce your own music?
Yes, I do produce my own music. I've had some of my music produced elsewhere, but I work full-time for Nairobi Lighthouse Church. I'm the creative arts director there and the worship leader there. So I've produced a lot of music for our church. I've produced some music for outside of our church, a little bit. I did Bethu and Highest Praise. I'm the one who produced their album. So I've done some production work outside of, but my main thrust is our church and our praise and worship and stuff like that. So I've been producing since 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, were you raised in a Christian home, or do you have a religious sort of background?
Yes, very much so. My whole family are believers. My parents are pastors, and very much raised in an awesome home with very godly parents who never really demanded we follow God. They just showcased a life that was so desirable that it was very easy to love God and get to know God. I always tell people I first met Jesus in my parents. That's where I met him. And so just grew up very much involved in church life. I had a season of my life, and again, Kutembea Nawe plays into it so much, years ago, where I made some very bad decisions and, made some bad choices, but thankfully for a great home life and a great church that just stood with me and held me accountable and helped me in that season. So even this prayer, of Kutembea Nawe kind of also came out of that, of God, I've tried it my own way and it did not go well, and this time I'm going to put you to the test, and I'm going to do this your way. And what came out of it was just such a beautiful love story, and God has been so faithful to that cry of my heart. He has walked with me. So yeah, I was raised in a wonderful home. Yeah. Love my family.
At what point in your life did you know that this was the direction you wanted to take with worship music?
Oh man, that's a hard question. Well, I always, growing up, I had music lessons. I always loved music. Really what I would say is when I was finishing high school, I very much wanted to get married right out of high school. And that wasn't happening, So I kind of just made this decision of, what, until I get married, let me just serve God. And I love music, and, as I grew up, I would lead in the worship, the youth team, And I just loved it. It wasn't, for me, I don't think there was ever a huge moment of, this is my calling. It was just, there was a need. I could meet it. I enjoyed it. You know, it was a wonderful place to serve. So I went to Hillsong, loved it. You know, it challenging in so many ways, but I came back, I joined staff. It's just, I can't say there was a moment that I heard a big voice or anything like that. It was just a passion and a love, and I think I've known from a young age that I knew I was going to serve God. And it's just kind of, you know, I serve Him with music, and I love it. I know that's not a very deep answer, but yeah, I think it's just been one step after another, and it's just the doors keep opening, and every step I just feel that, yes, this is what I feel I need to do. So yeah, so it's just kind of, I've ended up here, and I'm super thrilled that I'm here, and I just think it's a high privilege to serve my church in any way that I can. I love that I do it in a creative way, so that's awesome.
So you play the piano, we know that.
Yes.
Do you play any other instruments?
Not well. I can toot on a saxophone a little bit. I started violin. I got as far as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really it's just the piano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that people are more familiar with your music, have you had interest in maybe local artists approaching you to want to do collaborations or to work with you, maybe produce their music? Yeah,
I've had some people call in and ask for me to produce them, and you know, that's just such a huge honor. I know, because I'm also, you know, a worship leader, I know what a big deal it is to trust someone with your songs and what you want it to sound like. So that's just a huge compliment that people would ask. Yeah.
Now, I saw some photos of your wedding. When did you get married?
December 29th, 2015.
2015.
Yes, so we've just clocked a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Plans for a family there?
Yes, eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just in terms of, you know, Kenyans were very shocked when they found out, like we were talking off camera, this is a Mzungu who sings this song. What have been some of the most outrageous things that maybe people have told you or you've heard about yourself and in association with the music you do? I don't really think there's been anything too outrageous. I mean, most people just comment on how the accent is so legit that they, you know, that's just been the most common comment is, you sound so Kenyan. So, and again, I take that as such a compliment. You know, it would be horrible if you put out a song and you're like, you really sound like a Mzungu who's really trying really hard. So it's a huge compliment. I think the challenging thing is I've had a lot of people write in emails that are like fully Swahili or in French or Kikuyu, and it's like, people are just like, oh, she can speak Swahili, she can speak everything. So I see these emails and I'm like, So just to clarify, do you speak Kikuyu?
Okay, I'm learning. My husband's teaching me Kikuyu.
Okay.
I can sing a few songs. I have like 5 phrases I can say in Kikuyu, and that's it.
Okay.
I do not speak.
But you're learning.
But I'm learning.
So maybe a Kikuyu song in the future?
Oh, yeah, I would love to do one.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. My husband and I talk all the time about how I'd love to do a Kikuyu song. In fact, someone just put out a Kikuyu cover of Kutembea Nawe.
No way.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's incredible.
I keep trying to memorize it because I'm like, that would be so cool one day to just bust out and sing it.
Everyone would be like,
yeah.
where did that
oh,
come
it'd
from?
be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I would love to learn. I'd love for my kids to know Kuk. Like,
now, there is a difference between traditional Swahili and Sheng. Do you speak Sheng?
I don't speak it only, again, out of... I have to be very comfortable. So with a certain group of people, yes, but I hear it. Okay. Except for some Sheng that's like from some parts of town. You know, it changes like every 3 months. So I don't... that just goes over my head. I'm like, what are they saying? I have to ask my husband. Some of it he doesn't even know. But I definitely hear it. And when I'm in a very comfortable setting, yes, I can speak. But I get stage fright. And as I said, I just have a track record of making horrible mistakes and dropping letters where they shouldn't be dropped or saying the wrong word. And it's like, oh my gosh, that is not what I meant to say. Yeah.
Now, what would you say, because everybody, you know, in ministry has a different sort of aim and purpose for themselves and what message it is that they hope to get out there. What is your aim in being a worship leader and doing the work that you do? What do you hope to achieve? That's a good question. Gosh, so many answers come to my mind.
Well, first of all, I love the local church. You know, I'm my primary goal is just to serve my church. I love our congregation. I love my team that I get to serve with, and you know, that's a big aim. In fact, most of the music I put out, my target audience is them. Mm-hmm. I'm not seeing much farther past them, you know, and that's why I think this song even, it kind of surprised me. It was like, I just didn't expect that. But I think in the broader sense, you know, as I've grown up, and my parents are both worship leaders. My dad plays guitar and sings. My mom is the one who started me on the piano. You know, my mom has written songs. And so they've just kind of, I've been raised very much in this ministry. But like I said earlier, I think the thing that really clenched it for me was how authentic. You know, my parents weren't just worship leaders on stage or pastors in church. The integrity they had of, you know, who you see on Sunday is who I see on Wednesday. Maybe not dressed in a suit, but, you know, there was just such an integrity and such an authentic love for God. And as I've grown in ministry, that's just been my aim. You know, I tell a lot of people my favorite scripture is Psalm chapter 40, verse 3. And it says, He's put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of thanksgiving to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. And to me, it's a huge challenge that the song God gives me as a worship leader, it's not audible. It's meant to be visible. People aren't, the scripture doesn't say God's given me a song and people will hear it. It says God's given me a song, but people will see it. They're going to see it in my life, in my attitude, in my words, in my standards, whether I'm on stage, under a spotlight, or I'm at home serving my husband. It's got to be the same standard. So I think that's really my aim is, you know, when I stand before God to give the account for my life, I wasn't one person in ministry and another person behind closed doors, because I think truly standing on stage is an easy thing to do, but where the integrity really counts is in real life, and that's my aim is, God, let me be an authentic worshiper. You know, when Jesus said He's looking for worshipers that worship in spirit and truth, that word truth in Greek, it means reality. God's looking for worshipers who worship in reality. And Sunday morning, as awesome as it is, it's not reality. Mm-hmm. It's our escape from reality. It's where we leave our job and our home and our, you know, we go and take a breath, as it were, and get refreshed and renewed, and then we go back to our reality. Mm-hmm. But Jesus said the type of worshipers I'm looking for are the ones who worship in that reality. Mm-hmm. So I would say for me, that's my aim, is just, you know, to be very authentic and very real and keep that standard high wherever I am.
So for young people watching who appreciate your music and your authenticity like you're talking about, and maybe have dreams of one day following in your footsteps, what's the one piece of advice you would give a young person who's looking to live their truth as you are?
I think the biggest piece of advice I would give is get plugged in. You know, as I said earlier, I have such an incredible system, system's not the right word, I have such an incredible grounding, because I have people around me who are not impressed. You know, Kutembea Nawe, it hasn't impressed them. It's blessed them, it's exciting, but they know me. They know the me who's not on camera. Mm-hmm. And they keep my feet to the fire. And I think that is so critical for anyone who wants to stay authentic. You know, you've got to have people that are, you've given them the permission to wound you, to tell you the truth, to lead you, to guide you. And the temptation is so much to, especially once you start getting successful, is to kind of fly off and enjoy and ride that wave. Mm-hmm. And it is tempting, for sure. But I think just from my experience, what I've seen is having somewhere to be rooted and planted. And, you know, when the winds blow and the waves come and the tests come and the temptation come, you have somewhere that you're firmly rooted. So that would be my number one advice. I mean, there's so many things I could say, but that would be the primary thing, is really get plugged in, you know, to your church, to a Bible study, a mentor, somebody who can really just keep it real with you, you know, and make sure you're being the real deal.
Find that baseline with you. Now, we're just about out of time here, but are you working on new music? A lot of people curious if they can expect more of the same.
I am. In fact, it's that's one of the things that people have been surprised, because, you know, a lot of the media that came out was like, you know, Rebekah's released her first song, and I was like,
that is not my first song.
That is not my first song. I think it's the first song that's really made it past, you know, the group that I have. But, you know, like on my SoundCloud, there are so many songs way before Kutembea Nawe from years past. So there already is some music out there, but
and maybe you can just also share your social media handles or your SoundCloud handle.
I know on Instagram it's Beka, BEKA_Dawn, DAWN. Facebook is Rebekah Dawn Music, I think. I don't know what SoundCloud is.
Maybe they can find it out from your Facebook page?
Yes, yes. I'll post something today that has all those handles. I'm not quite sure what they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure of Instagram. Yeah, so there is definitely more music in the works. We're kind of compiling all the songs right now, putting out an album very soon of the songs I've just been doing over the years, kind of put it all in one package.
Yeah.
So it'll be coming out soon.
We look forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here on Power Breakfast. It's been great hearing your story, and I'm sure you've inspired many, just as your music has.
Thank you.
All right, Power Breakfast continues here on Citizen TV. More music from the Nairobi Girls Chorale next.
Nikipoteza njia kwa safari nimechagua, nisipokuwa na nguvu niite, niongoze kwa neema, nifunze kwa upole wako, hata nikikosea, nisaidie, natamani kutembea nawe, natamani kutembea nawe, natamani kutembea nawe, niongoze.